Welcome back to Global Minds podcast. We are back after beautiful winter break in New Year 2026 with special guest Lana Gergisak, who is special from many points of view. But the key one is that she's expert on education, and we wanted to have this first episode in 2026 about this really important topic about education, because as many as you experienced in couple last weeks during winter break, you spend time with your children. But that means that people who are in education, they have free time to gain strength and start the new year and take back your children into the schooling system. Lana is a school director from Central Point Elementary School. Lana, welcome back to Global Minds podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. So we are shooting this episode before Christmas, but the episode will be published after the Christmas break. Do you have big expectations for you for the upcoming season, for upcoming weeks, that you will no longer think about school? Or are you the kind of person who thinks about the school all the time, no matter what?
When you're in education, it's very rare that you're not thinking about school. We're, I guess, very dedicated to our job, but it's just natural because you have to plan in advance. So while we're having our winter break, we're planning for coming back. So there's not a lot of downtime for us. I'm not saying that we don't enjoy our break. We definitely enjoy our break, but we are always planning for the next step.
As we can hear, you are American.
Yes.
You are running school in Czechia.
Yes.
You are running school with British schooling system. Mm-hmm. So there is a really interesting mix. But the key question is, how come that American educator owns or runs a school in Czechia? Mm-hmm. Was it a long story, short story?
Kind of a quick story. I came here. I met my husband, had plans to live somewhere else, but ended up in Czech Republic, and no complaints. I love it here. I've been here 20 years, 22 actually. So we started the school. I was working in a preschool. The parents loved me teaching them. The school had a lot of problems, and they encouraged me to open my own school. And I didn't even think that it could be possible, but it was. So we opened the school. We had 5 children who followed us from there. By the end of the year, we had 20 children. And then it just kind of grew from there. They didn't want to leave the preschool, so then they said open an elementary school. So we opened the elementary school. And now we're hoping to even open the middle school and high school. That's our future plan. It's taking us longer than we had anticipated, but it's still a goal that we're aiming for. And I hope that we will realize that in the near future.
Well, it sounds really easy, but I bet it wasn't easy at all.
Yeah.
First of all, to start working in a new country, in Czech Republic, the first 2 years you were here because Central Point Elementary School celebrated 20 years.
Yes.
But for 2 years you were working in a kindergarten,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So how was it to start in a brand new country, brand new position?
Yeah, it's interesting. It went smoother than I thought. I mean, I remember now when I think back that maybe it didn't go as easy, but I'm the type of person that when I'm going through something, I'm just pushing ahead and not thinking so much about the challenges. But now when I look back, I think, okay, wow, we did overcome some challenges to get here, because I'm a forward thinker. So I'm not dwelling on what's happening in the past. And it went quite smoothly, I must say. We had success right away. We were doing something a little different at the time. Parents were not really happy with the Czech preschools because there wasn't a lot of academic support there. It was more like a play area, and at this time, preschools were popping up left and right. So this, in 2006, was when we opened. And if people can think back, they may remember every other month it seemed like a new preschool was opening. So in that respect, it was a little bit easy. But then maybe growing and creating our footprint, to be honest, it's still a challenge. We always have gone by word of mouth, but now with social media and things like that, we're noticing that we're kind of disappearing or fading into the background because we're not as apparent or visible as some other schools who are really proactive on social media. So now we've taken that step forward, and we're trying to create a footprint on social media. But on the same side, my hesitancy toward joining social medias. I didn't want to promote or use the children to promote our school, like to put their face there and expose them to the public. So what we're doing, and if you check out our Facebook and our Instagram account, you will see that we're not using faces of children. So we're showing them from the back. So we're showing all the great things we're doing, but we're not using the children to advertise. That way we're safeguarding them and still promoting the school. So that's our approach. We're one of the first schools, I think, that are doing that. But since we've been doing it, we've been getting really positive response from parents, from teachers, and even other schools who are thinking they're going to shift their direction in that way. So maybe we started something.
So this is 2026 reality,
Yes.
But let's go back to 2006.
Okay.
Did you have a strong idea? How would you like to run the school? What it should be, like the keystones for the school?
For me, keystone has always been and continues to be well-being of children, to really make sure that we're developing the whole child, a very holistic approach, and making sure that they're emotionally, academically, and socially ready for the future. And to do that, you have to really go step by step. I mean, you can give the child the best curriculum in the world, but if they're not emotionally and socially able to blend within the community, they're not going to be successful. So it doesn't matter so much what you're teaching them. It matters that you're preparing them. So the background and how we do that is to make sure that they're involved in the learning, a learner-centered approach to teaching and to behavior. So if there's a child who's having a problem, instead of just telling them, this is what you should be doing or this isn't right, you're asking them, okay, what happened? What could you have done next time? And you engage them in the decisions you're making, and it takes longer sometimes because punishment is pretty quick.
Yeah.
If you just scold somebody or tell them what to do, the solution is quick. But if you encourage the child to do it and to make these decisions, they'll say, okay, I should apologize, or I shouldn't have done this, or maybe I could have done it in this way. And then you're teaching them for the future. And then you hope the next time they're going to use that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe it's going to take 3 or 4 times. But if you're consistent and you really involve them, they know how they should behave in society.
We're talking about children from the age of 2.
Yes.
So is it possible
Yes.
even with the small children,
Yes,
right?
yes. They know what is right and wrong. They're testing borders all the time. I don't know if you have children, but if you've been in a family or someone has children, you can even see how they'll behave differently with the mother or the father because they're testing the borders. They know what they can do and what they can't do automatically. And as they get older, they will decide which parent to go to ask questions because they know which parent is more lenient or which parent has stronger boundaries. Kids are very, very smart, and sometimes people think that they can't talk to their children at 2. Oh, they don't understand what I'm saying. They understand everything. So you really, really encourage them to speak. Maybe they don't exactly have the vocabulary, but you can find a way. And if you were to come and observe in a school, you would see that the kids really understand between right and wrong.
You've mentioned well-being. I can imagine in 2026 it's a huge topic.
Yes.
But in 2006, I don't think that was widely accepted in Czech schooling system.
Yeah, it wasn't, but it's always been important. My background is in, I have a master's degree in clinical psychology, so I've worked with abused children. So maybe it's the reason why I'm so sensitive to the well-being of children, but it's always been there. We just haven't really looked at it. We haven't maybe brought it to the forefront, but it's the basis for everything. So when a child is not feeling safe, feeling secure, they're not going to be successful. So you have to create an environment. And when I say safe, I don't mean like taking away all the dangers, like sharp objects and things like that. What I mean is that they're in a place where they feel that they can trust the adult or the people they're with to take risks, to make a mistake, to do these things and not have a consequence, well, a natural consequence they could have, but not something that they're going to feel penalized for, but in a way that they are understanding it's right and wrong. And so that's what you need to teach the children. A lot of parents who maybe came from a different system, I'm also a bit older, so I came from this generation where we would be hit or punished in strong ways if we did something wrong. So sometimes parents who are raised in that time period feel like they won't give their kids any boundaries and they should have freedom, which isn't also good for a child because a child needs the boundaries. They need to know where can I be safe. And so when they're pushing the boundaries, you will see children who don't have boundaries tend to be a little bit more out of control, a little more difficult because they're testing and they're going to keep pushing until someone puts a boundary there. So they need to know where that boundary is. So the farther you put it, the longer they'll push.
We are talking about well-being. If I had anyone else from Czech schooling system, because we are in Czechia, we would probably talk more about results, because Czech system is result-driven.
Yes.
But I understand that you are also result-driven, but within the ecosystem of well-being,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So how does it work?
So it's different. Maybe in the Czech system, sometimes I know that if a child gets one answer wrong, they lose a point, or it goes from a 1 to a 2, or how does it go backwards? Yeah, from a 1 to a 2. But it's not like that. We say mistakes are great. They have to make a mistake in order to improve. It's not possible to keep raising the bar or achieving something if you don't make a mistake. I mean, scientists, people who invent things, they don't succeed the first time. I mean, if they did that, I mean, it would be very easy to invent things, but it doesn't happen that way. And a lot of times it's even serendipity. They just randomly made a mistake that actually worked. So children need to make mistakes. They need to experience this in order to understand what is the right path or to be stronger in a different area. So we encourage mistakes. We don't penalize them from that. Okay, let's look at that mistake. How could we have changed it? Where did the error come from? And so you get them involved and you help them correct the mistake. And just marking it wrong isn't going to teach them how to correct it. So this is the difference. We mark it wrong. We acknowledge it's a mistake. Okay, now how could we correct that mistake? And then making them feel good about the mistake. Like, it's great because you took a risk. You made that mistake because you went outside your comfort zone. If you knew it, you would have gotten it right. But you tried something that you didn't think you knew. Okay, you didn't know it, but now maybe you do.
Do the students have like good results in the following education?
Yes, they do.
It's proven that this approach works,
yes,
right?
Yes, it does work. But it takes time and it takes patience, and you have to be willing to spend the time and energy with the child and help them get to that point. It's very easy just to say no and let's move on.
You've been talking about, accepting mistakes. It's a really interesting parallel into the leadership styles and what we are discussing here at this table with some top leaders from top companies in the Czech market. So is this approach maybe more adaptable for people who are from abroad because they are used to it more than for Czech parents? Or after 20 years, you could say that no matter if it's Czech parent, Turkish parent, British, American parent, they are all on the same level of acceptance this system?
It depends on the person. It doesn't really matter where they're from. We have a lot of Czech families in our school. We have international families. So we have families who accept it and families who don't. It's really about the person and how open they are to something different. It's not really where you're from. It's just how you think or how you want to approach something.
At the same time, you're working in an international environment. So how difficult is it to make it work? Because everyone has a different culture background, different expectations.
I would say that's the hardest part of my job is trying to get parents on board sometimes, or creating this community where they're respectful and speaking in a way and accepting these things as well at home or even within our school community. So to be honest, sometimes it's much harder to get the parents on board with something that we're doing than it is with the children. But we are really committed to that. I mean, I have no problem announcing to the school that, sorry, this does not fit with our ethos. This is not something we're going to do. We are going to be nice to each other and kind to each other. And if we have disagreements, we're going to find a way to resolve this problem. So I have no problem with that. Maybe someone will leave the school and that's their choice. The majority of them don't. They kind of take a step back and we're like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it in that way. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. And then we're changing. My whole point of opening the school was to make a difference in the world. And maybe someone will say, well, how do you expect to make a difference? These are privileged people at a private school. But this is how I'm going to make a difference, by hopefully teaching people that we can be kind and we can solve problems without on social media, writing something or cancel culture, it doesn't really solve the problem. We really need to start to believe that we can be good and we can be kind and we can do nice things, and then we will all feel better in the end.
And it works for 20 years.
Yes.
Speaking about respect, this is again something that many international managers are talking about when they come into a new environment. The respect is number one thing. At the same time, as someone who is in charge of the school, you have to be strong and bold especially within Czech administration system. Is it something that this was always natural to you, that you were a good fighter for the good cause, or did you have to learn how to work within the Czech administrative system?
By nature, I'm stubborn.
Okay.
So I would say that I've always had this mindset, that I don't give up easily. So you have to set an example. So the way I expect people to behave is the way that I behave. So if I want someone to, be open-minded, I need to be open-minded as well. So I always encourage parents, if they have a problem, to come speak to me, not to speak to someone in the community, but to come to me. And parents know if they come to my office, no matter what the problem, we will find a solution. Maybe it's not exactly what they were hoping for, because we also have to keep things regulated to some extent. I mean, if I created a school where everyone came in and told me how to do everything, we really wouldn't have the foundation we have right now. So we set the expectations. You have to be within those expectations, but there are sometimes we will change and shift things because things are shifting if it's something that can apply to the whole community. So I am open-minded in that way, but at the same time, they have to come to me if we want to solve a problem. You can't solve a problem by speaking to someone else. So this is what I encourage.
Mentioned social media, so
yes.
You are definitely open to innovations.
Yes.
And I already mentioned that you are running school within the British schooling system. So why is it maybe better in Czechia to have my children within this British education system?
That's a very good question, because a lot of parents think, okay, I went through the Czech system, it's enough for my child, like I will do the same. One, the world is changing, so you need to expose the children depending on what you want for your child. If you think that they'll stay in Czech Republic and they won't venture out, then probably it's going to be okay within the Czech system. But if you think that your child will move away from Czech Republic, or you want to give them opportunities somewhere else in the world, then it's important for them to have this international mindset, to have English. And when they leave the school, they are speaking fluently. You would not know that they weren't born speaking English, which is pretty amazing for the short time that they're in their school, from age of 2 till it's called year 6 in the British system, or the 5th grade. But they really speak fluently. They have confidence. They have a growth mindset, and they're really ready for the world. So for Czech parents who are considering, who have the financial means for it, it's a great opportunity, even if you want to consider then going back into the Czech system, because we do have children who go to Nový Pork, Open Gate from our school, and go to the gymnasium. Of course, it takes a lot of effort to study, but it's the same for children in the Czech system. To be able to go to gymnasium, they can't just apply, they need to spend time and study, but we do have success in that way. So it is possible even to go back into the Czech system, and we really embrace the Czech culture. We don't want to be like, we're an international school. We make sure that we have a lot of Czech in the school. They have 5 hours of Czech if they're a native, and then we also do Prvoka and Vlastivera. Then they go to our partner school, and they take the test once a year, so they have the official Czech report card. So it's possible for them. And we teach about Czech history in English, but even so the children who are living here for a long time, they have a background about Czech. We want to be a part of the Czech Republic. We go to this Czech senior home and we sing for the seniors in Czech. So we do things. We go to Motol and we sing to the sick children there. We're really trying to be connected to the community. We don't want to be in a bubble, an international bubble.
So, Czech school usually needs to incorporate the foreigner within the system. You need to incorporate the Czechs.
Yes.
Right? So,
yes.
Is there something special? What's the key? How to successfully incorporate Czech people into the international culture? Again, it might be really great advice for international leaders how to, work with their teams.
Yeah. Once you have to understand that there could be a difference to their approach, So this I know. There's sometimes my husband is Czech, so sometimes I know his approach to things is a little different than mine. But then it would be the same for him, and the same. So the first thing is you have to accept that we're different, and then you have to try to find a common belief or something that you're going to, in this case, education. So we all want the common goal is for our children to be happy, for them to be successful academically, socially, emotionally. So there's our common strength. So now we have to find out how can we meet that together. So like I said, sometimes parents will not be in agreement, but then we can talk and maybe I can show them why this approach is maybe we believe is better. And they would say, but that's not how the Czech schools do it. We're like, but you're coming here probably for a reason that you didn't want that. So sometimes we do have that the parents want to come to the international system, but they want it to be like the Czech system,
Yes.
the half a day or something
Yes,
like this. So then we remind them, okay, but what do you want? What is your end result? And then they will say, oh, but I want them to speak, fluently in English. I want this, and I want this. And I said, okay, so if that's happening, then these are the things we need to do. So you have to let them speak. You have to let them understand, and you have to see where you can connect on the same level, where your differences are. Can we agree to disagree and move forward, or do we need to adapt a little bit? And we both need to adapt.
At the same time, you are raising global minds, which is great for this podcast. You've mentioned middle school. Right now, you have preschool, primary school. From my point of view, it's more about fun, less about hard work. But middle school, in Czech Republic, it's great. I think 5 to 9 or 6 to 9. It's more about hard school from my point of view. How much do you need to change your mindset about the education, about the approach when you are preparing for the middle school?
Okay, first, it is very hard even from the preschool because you are setting the foundation. Without this foundation, they will not be ready for middle school. So to be honest, our job, I feel, is the most important. And you can see it. If we have children who start in our school at the age of 2 and they finish in 5th grade, year 6 in the British system, it's much different than we have a child who joins us somewhere in the middle. You can see a huge difference in our approach and just the way that they approach learning. I mean, I won't say every situation because maybe if they came to a school that was a little similar to ours, but if not, we see a huge difference. And sometimes it will take us time to get them to the same level emotionally, socially, and academically where we are. So we are creating a foundation. And what I do know is when our students move on, we hear from the other schools at how well our students or how they appear, compared in comparison to their students, and the parents coming back to us and being really impressed with that. Oh, they're at the upper level and they're being so successful and they're so happy with the way they've, grown and developed. And this is the feedback for us. Just last week, we had a girl who came back to us. She left in 3rd grade to move back to her country. And she always wanted to come back to Czech Republic. So she's now going to Czech University. She moved back here and she came back with her mom to thank us for the foundation. The mom said, still, it's because of you and what you gave my daughter that she's successful right now. And so when they do that, you just think like, okay, we did our job and this is nice. We get this quite often. There's a huge connection. And I think because we create this safe space where they really grow and develop, they're still connected. So they come back and they want to see it one more time before they go to university. We have a wall painted with pandas, and it's actually a former student who came back and did the wall for us. They come back and they volunteer sometimes. We have them, one student came back to work in our library over the summer. She's in university, her 3rd year of university. So there's still this connection from the kids who started 20 years ago. And this is important.
So it's kind of family approach.
Yes, yeah,
Is
it's
it
definitely
important for you personally to feel that within the walls?
Definitely.
Okay.
As an expat myself, I don't have family here. We have my family is small. I have an only child, so it's just us, and even my husband's family doesn't have a huge family. So for us to create this community was very important for us, and this is also what is important for expats coming in, maybe even for Czech families like ours that don't have a lot of extended family. So it really feels like a home. So we have even not only the children, but families who move away come back. We have a family who's coming back at Christmas to visit for the day because they miss us. They had to go back to their hometown, and they'll come back at Christmas.
But at the same time, you and your students experience way more goodbyes than other students within the Czech schooling system. So how difficult is to incorporate this come and go principle into the school?
To be honest, we are not as some international schools have a huge turnover where there are a lot of expats, but we have a lot of our students are planning to live here long term. So even they're international, they're bicultural. So they're Czech and maybe Italian or German, so they're planning to live here. So we don't have this every 3 years. There's a lot of change. But on the other side, we create such a strong community that it doesn't feel like a bye. It feels like see you later. So even when I mean every graduation, because we have a graduation ceremony for our as our fifth grade year 6 leave us. And it's hard every time, but I know they're going to come back, and they do. Every one of them, almost everyone, has come back even within the year or 10 years later to say something, or even an email. Sometimes they'll just reach out and they maybe want a reference or something like this. So they're still connected, and I'm happy I'm still there to do it. And we have a few teachers who have been with us for 15 years who are still there. So they come back and see some of their first teachers as well.
Let's go back to the middle school. What's the biggest challenge of adding middle school into the system?
Yeah, sorry, I deviated from that question a little bit. I wasn't avoiding it. So the biggest challenge,
it's a big challenge, right?
The big challenge will be, to be honest, the reason I want to do it is I feel that unfortunately a lot of schools don't really focus on the well-being in middle school. They expect the kids to be, they need to learn to do it on their own. They need to learn it. This is what you hear. This is what I heard a lot when my son was going through middle school. He's finishing his last year of school now. And they still need a lot of guidance. They're still trying to figure it out. So my whole point of opening the middle school is because I really want to create a middle school where we really focus on the well-being, and especially at this age when they're teenagers and the hormones start kicking in and they start to pull away from their families because they want to start to make their own choices and become independent, which is what they necessarily need in order to be successful in the future, but they still need an adult who will guide them. And so this is what I would like the school to be able to provide, the space where they feel they can come to us when they need help, and we can guide them, and we will support them, and we won't hold their mistakes against them, because they will make mistakes, because they will again start challenging the boundaries and trying to figure out what they can and cannot get away with. And it's really important.
And maybe in future also gymnasium, right?
Yes.
Because it's also important to have great well-being within.
For sure. And it's so intense right now. I mean, to be honest, even as an educator, I almost question the IB level of education because it's really intense. My son is going through it right now, and they have 3-hour exams and they study nonstop, and it's a lot. And so fine if that's the path we're taking, but then you have to make sure that you're preparing them also, or supporting their well-being, so that they're managing and they're not having stress. And if you open the newspaper or hear any other podcast, you will hear about children who are depressed, who have a lot of anxiety. They blame it on social media. I think that's part of it, but I also believe it's the pace and the expectations we're putting on the children. They have to speak how many languages they have to speak. They have to have all these different outside activities, and there isn't a lot of time for them just to be kids. I grew up in a generation where we would just play outside, and you didn't have to have a club scheduled every day after school. And I think we need to get back to that a little bit. And it's also my hope that if I open the middle school and high school, that we can incorporate some more of this mindset with families, and encourage them not to put so much. They're 15, 16, 17 years old, let them enjoy being a kid, because we're adults. It's tough out there. It's full on, you don't have a lot of time to play and do things. So I think this is the time when they should be allowed to do that. So
what is one practical tip you would incorporate in every Czech school, like within a minute, just right now?
It would be well-being, honestly. It's just making sure that the kids really have someone they trust and can go to. This is so important.
What about well-being of the teachers?
Also important, yes. I mean, it goes for the well-being for parents, for teachers. It's the one word that if you're doing that successfully, everyone's going to be successful as well. You have to make sure that you're not making the teachers, work nonstop. And some of the things now with accreditation, and you need a lot of documentation, which is a lot of extra work for the teachers, and sometimes it even takes away from the teaching, or teaching in the way you want to teach, because you have to make sure that everything is documented and done in a certain way. So this, I think, is really important, this word, well-being. And I think as in the world, if we focus on this and we figure out how to be healthy humans, happy and healthy humans, we will be much more successful.
So well-being and also holistic approach. Because everything is connected.
Exactly.
Usually because there are many schools who promote that they have holistic approach, and sometimes is a buzzword.
Yes.
So what makes you the one who's truly living it?
So it has to be visible. If you come into our school, you will see it. We have a school psychologist, and she's doing PSIG lessons, which is the psychological, social, economic class, so it teaches everything, health and economics. So you're teaching the kids how to interact, how to do team building, how to find solutions to problems, and sometimes we're tailoring it to a specific problem in the school. Schools will say, we don't have bullying. Sorry, it's not true. Even I will say, sometimes there's bullying in the school. It's just normal because, again, the child is pushing the border a little bit, testing the waters. But when it happens, you need to stop it, and then you need to figure out how to fix the situation so it doesn't keep happening. We have a really tight community in the school, so the kids are interacting with the older kids and the younger kids are interacting. We have a big performance last week where all the kids were on stage from the age of 2. So you create these situations, which helps to eliminate some bullying because they're already knowing each other. So maybe they've done something unkind, but it wasn't really bullying, So if you create this environment, you will eliminate some of these concerns that you have. So if you come into the school, you will see that naturally. It's not just a tag word so that we can get people in the school. You will see it and you will feel it. And that's when we have open days, parents will say like, wow, you can just feel the positive energy. So
I'm a parent and my child start school. What should be the number one requirement I should have towards the school? Positive energy, positive approach?
You mean if you're looking for a school or what you would look for in a school? So I would say how you feel the minute you walk in the school. It's a little bit if you've ever gone to look at an apartment or something and you walk in and you know right away it's the apartment for you. It should feel like that with the school. You should feel the energy right away. If you walk in our school, whoever greets you is going to say hello. You're going to just feel this positive energy. The kids are going to walk by and say hello to you because they know that's how we greet. We greet people. Anyone you pass, you greet. And so in the morning, they may say hello to me, 20 times if I pass them in the hallway. Good morning, Miss Lana. Good morning, Miss Lana. So this is what is important. You should feel it right away. And you will feel it. If you come to our school, you will feel this.
If Lana had a chance in 2006 to have a sneak peek into 2025 or 2026, what would be the biggest surprise for her?
Ooh, okay. I would say just in general now, how we have to compete with the things the kids are exposed to. They're maturing and growing up much faster than they need to. And so we have additional challenges right now. We have to really consider the children, honestly, are not in the same space or the same place they were in 2006. Kids were, in my opinion, when I look back, happier. They're busy. They're tired. They're exhausted. I mean, they're really trying to always do something more. Their schedules are really, really packed. This is not something I saw when we first opened. I saw a more playful, relaxed approach to childhood. So we have to we've teaching the kids how to be safe on the internet, to make sure that parents aren't letting their kids play on the internet. We really see a lot of changes, attention spans because of electronics. If you play games or you're even watching television, everything is so fast, the pace of everything. So kids have that expectation in real life too. And that's not really how real life works. And I don't know if you've ever watched an old movie, I don't know, like Mary Poppins, but the original one. It's really slow and kids will get really bored. They're like, it's so slow. But it's really, that's the pace of the world. That's how the real world moves. So they're so programmed in this way. And kids who watch TikTok and things like this, these, 30-second, 1 minute thing, and they're thinking that things should be shifting like that. So maybe I would have started, preparing myself for this if I had known this was coming. But we're dealing with it now. We're making parents more aware. We have workshops. We have workshops with the kids. We bring specialists in to talk about it, like psychologists to talk about social media and internet usage and how we can help protect the children.
And what would surprise Lana from 2006 about her own career journey?
What would I have seen? I guess, I don't know. It's really hard if I think about it because I feel like I'm still on the path that I wanted to be on. My path is to really create this really welcoming community, and I believe that I'm still achieving that. I won't say that I haven't had to overcome obstacles, but I feel like I'm still on the right path. Maybe opening the school, like the middle school, has taken me longer. Maybe if I would have started sooner, maybe. I know when we were trying, it was during COVID time, so things kind of got, and then after that, things shifted a little bit. So maybe if I had known those things were happening, I would have opened it in 2019 before anything happened. If I could have foreseen that, because I feel this is where we're stuck right now. I really want to continue moving forward, and we're in a place where we're having difficulty finding a location. We're ready aside from the location, but we want to stay in our community so that our community sticks together. We don't want to go to another area. So also limiting us within these parameters is making it a little more challenging.
And that's why you relate to children. You're faster than the process, right?
Yes.
My last question is probably my most favorite one. What makes you a global mind?
Oh, okay. What makes me a global mind? I think because I'm look at the world, like what's happening, and sometimes I'm even trying to anticipate maybe what will happen in the future. So not only am I bringing on board what's presented to me, but I'm looking at that and thinking how that will affect us. So like maybe, for example, Facebook. When it first came out, people were joining, and I joined Facebook. But very shortly, I didn't join it because I'm like, I'm not sure I like this approach. So I'm just saying, like, when things are presented to me, I'm also questioning, is this the right approach forward? I think we don't question enough sometimes, and we just kind of like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, and we move forward, and then we realize like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done it that way. So before I take that step, I'm really analyzing things or trying to analyze things to the best of my knowledge, and so I'm open to everything, but I'm also questioning everything as well, and maybe I would say that's why I'm global-minded, because I'm still open to possibilities, even if something's presented in front of me.
Lana Gergisak, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.